the early 5th century. The Western Roman Empire, once the master of the known world, now trembles on the edge of collapse. Barbarian invasions, revolts, and political chaos have turned the empire into a shadow of its former self. Among the restless tribes threatening Rome were the Vandals. Having settled in the Iberian Peninsula alongside their allies, the Vandals were looking for new opportunities. In North Africa, the Roman governor Bonifacius rebelled against imperial control. As Rome prepared to crush him, Bonifacius made a fateful decision. He called upon King Gaiseric of the Vandals for help. In May 429, Gaiseric answered that call. With his entire people, said to number 80,000 souls, he crossed the Strait of Gibraltar and entered Africa. At first, Rome tried diplomacy. A treaty in 435 recognized Vandal control over parts of Mauritania and Numidia. But this peace was short-lived. Gaiseric's ambitions went far beyond alliance. He wanted Africa itself. In 439, the unthinkable happened. The great city of Carthage, jewel of Roman Africa, fell to the Vandals. From this victory rose a new power, the Vandalic kingdom, with Carthage as its capital. From their new stronghold, Vandal ships terrorized the Mediterranean, raiding coasts, seizing treasure, and in 455, even sacking Rome itself for 2 whole weeks. After Emperor Valentinian III's death, Gaiseric expanded his power further, reclaiming Mauritanian lands and conquering Sardinia, Corsica, and the Balearic Islands. Only Sicily escaped his grasp. Rome struck back again and again, but failed each time. Generals like Aspar, Majorian, and Basiliscus all fell short. Finally, in 474, Emperor Zeno signed a so-called perpetual peace with Gaiseric. But peace in this world never lasted long. By the 6th century, the Western Empire had fallen. Odoacer ruled Italy. And in Africa, the Vandals stood alone, proud, independent, but divided. When Hilderic, a descendant of Valentinian III, became king in 523, he tried to mend ties with the Eastern Roman Empire, now ruled by Justinian I. But Hilderic's pro-Roman policies angered the Vandal nobility. In 530, his cousin Gelimer overthrew and imprisoned him. Emperor Justinian demanded Hilderic's restoration. Gelimer refused. And just like that, Justinian found his pretext for war. Justinian waited for the right moment. His peace with Persia was secured in 532. He began assembling an invasion force, despite opposition from his own advisors. Meanwhile, Gelimer's rule was crumbling. He persecuted rivals, executed nobles, and confiscated property, sparking revolts in Sardinia and Tripolitania. In Sardinia, the governor Godus even declared independence. Gelimer dispatched most of his fleet and 5,000 of his best men to crush the Sardinian rebellion, leaving Africa dangerously exposed. It was the perfect opening. Justinian chose his finest general, Belisarius, to lead the invasion. He was joined by his wife Antonina and his secretary Procopius, who would one day write the history of this war. Belisarius commanded 10,000 infantry, 5,000 cavalry, and 1,000 allied horse archers, Huns, and heralds. A fleet of 500 ships, led by Colonymus of Alexandria, carried them toward Africa. Gelimer, unaware, was soon to face one of Rome's greatest generals. In June 533, the Roman fleet set sail. By chance, Procopius learned that Gelimer was far from Carthage, and that the Vandal fleet was away in Sardinia. Belisarius acted immediately, landing near Cape Capitvada. As the Roman army marched north, Gelimer prepared an ambush at Ad Decimum, just south of Carthage. The plan was perfect on paper. Amadas would block the Roman advance, Gibamund would attack the flank, and Gelimer would strike from behind. But fate intervened. Amadas arrived too early and was killed. Gibelmund's force was wiped out by the Huns. When Gelimer arrived, he found his brother dead, and in his grief, lost all sense of command. Belisarius seized the moment, rallied his men, and crushed the Vandals. The road to Carthage lay open. On September 15th, 533, Belisarius entered Carthage. The citizens welcomed him as a liberator. The general sat upon the Vandal throne and dined on the meal Gelimer had ordered for his own victory feast. Carthage was once again Roman, but the war was far from over. Gelimer regrouped in Numidia, joined by his brother Zazan, fresh from Sardinia. By December, he advanced toward Carthage with his remaining forces. Belisarius met him near Tricamarum, 28 kilometers from the city. The battle was fierce, mostly cavalry against cavalry. In the chaos, Zazan was killed. With his brother dead, Gelimer's army collapsed and fled. The Vandal kingdom had fallen, but Gelimer escaped into the mountains of Numidia. Belisarius pursued the fleeing king relentlessly. After weeks in hiding, surrounded and starving, Gelimer finally surrendered in March 534, in exchange for his life and safety. The once mighty Vandal kingdom was no more. Belisarius returned to Constantinople with Gelimer, thousands of captives, and a legendary Vandal treasure, including relics looted from Rome decades earlier.